Hello and welcome to Opwall Field Notes, a podcast created by Operation Wallacea to share stories and insights from our 25 years working in the field. My name is Sophia Wood, Opwall's country manager for Ecuador and director of Friends of Wallacea, and I will be your host for this series. We launched this podcast to shine a light on the world of biodiversity field research and the work of those who dedicate their lives to understanding and protecting our planet. Each month, we have conversations with scientists, community conservationists, and experienced academics about new research, protecting biodiversity, and daily life out in the field. Our guest today is Gerardo Orozco, the owner and manager of Akumal Dive Center, the oldest dive shop in Akumal Bay and Opwall's partner for our marine research in Mexico. Gerardo arrived into the conservation world somewhat by accident. He studied business and began to work at the dive shop, which has been in his family since 1975 after graduating. However, he quickly realized that protecting the bay would be essential to sustaining the business in the long term. At the time, there were no regulations, and tourists and operators were rapidly degrading corals and seagrass where tropical fish and sea turtles lived. Gerardo decided he would do things differently, and that's how he ended up working with scientists and conservationists, including Opwall. He's a strong voice for conservation through sustainable business in one of Mexico's top tourist destinations. In this episode, we discuss how Gerardo sees the role of business investing in conservation, his team's restoration of Akumal Bay, and how to bridge the gap between science and business to build successful conservation projects. Hi, Gerardo. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Opwall podcast.
Thanks, Sophia. It's a pleasure.
So since we're taping everything from home today, could you tell me where you're based right now?
Right now I'm in Akumal, in the office. We work every day normally there.
And I've heard it's quite busy this time of year despite the pandemic there.
Yeah, December was almost normal. Right now it's a little bit less, because people from Canada, they can fly right now. It's closed Canada. And right now we used to have normally Americans and Canadians, but now also Americans have some restrictions, like they need to make a test before they back to the States, and also they need to make a quarantine. So that's sometimes affects the decision to travel. So we're going to see the next months how going to be, but right now it start to be slow again.
Right. Yes. So obviously, Mexico stayed pretty much open throughout this time, and I would imagine, I guess it's probably good that you've been able to have tourism to some extent because that area is so heavily dependent on tourism.
Yeah, this state is basically depends of tourists. Everything is in base of tourists. Like all the economy move around that.
Right. Well, since we jumped straight in, could you maybe take a step back and tell us a little bit more about your work at the Akumal Marine Research Center?
Yeah, I want to explain. We have a family business since 1975. Okay, that my dad started a dive center in Akumal. Okay, so we work every day doing diving, and basically that was all that we do it. We sell. We try to sell great experience with the best safety conditions. But I went to college and I'm studying business administration. So when I back and I'm start to work with my family, I'm start to check that was a lot of trouble for the people that try to make investments, not investigations. Okay, so a lot of doctors try to do. They have programs to make investigation about marine life, about coral, about everything that is happening around the bay in basic in ecology, but sometimes they don't have budget, to do the work. And we are in the area that is really expensive because it's a touristic place. So to rent a boat, to have that equipment, so was absolutely out of any budget of that people that are trying to make that investigations. So I take the decision that we as a dive center, we need to support that investigations because it's the base that what we sell. If we have the information, what's the best way to have conservancy in the area that we sell, so our business would be longer. So we start to sponsor many projects of different university, different associations that want to do something in Akumal and what's really expensive. We start to giving many times for free because sometimes they just need 2 boats in a month. So we say, okay, we have the business, so we can support that because we have incomes, and we can take that expense. So we start to do that. That's the first thing that we do it in conservancy, in ecology. We start to supporting uh, different people from all around to Mexico that was doing investigations in Akumal area. So that's the way that we was in or working with ecological people.
Wow, so you came from a business background and realized, obviously, to be able to have a long-term sustainable business where you had to protect the animals that you were going to see with your dive tours.
Yes, we come from business. I say that I remember that one of our really good business was fishing trips. And we stopped to sell fishing trips like I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago, because I remember that we was working in a program to make a conservation of fishes and everything. So I remember that I have a meeting with my dad, and I say, we can sell fishing trips now because our real business is diving and snorkeling. We need to show animals. We need to show fishes. And right now we also sell fishing trips, so we need to stop. And basically we do also a business study that we show that fishing trips wasn't the best business if we increase for example, the discovery dives. Okay, so we make a promotion that we can increase in discovery dives, so we can cover that part of the fishing trips business. So we cut fishing trips, but we increase in other things, in diving. So that's the way that we was doing by time. We start like we saying that, okay, this month we can sell just 3 fishing trips max, and we start cutting by time until the moment that we don't need sell fishing trips, so we stop fishing trips and we do more other activities.
That's really interesting. And I guess we're lucky at Opwall to have found someone like you who realized the importance of trying to protect this area through the work that you were doing.
Yeah, the way that we get in touch with Opwall was by people that was involved in ecology, because I think so Opwall was looking with where we can work, and that people that we support for main investigation and things like this, they say, you can work with that guys. They can give you good prices. They can support in many things. So I think so you can make teams, because in this area it's not really easy to make teams between business and conservancy. It's not really easy because things are really expensive. So sometimes it's hard to make the click, to make the balance.
Right. You definitely need to have your incentives aligned with what both groups want to achieve, where that is, and having the support of a local business, I think, has obviously been a key to where Opwall works around the world. I was wondering if you could go into a bit more detail about the ecological importance of the area where you work in Akumal. What kind of species do we see there?
Okay, so as we told you, Akumal is a 100% a touristic destiny. Okay, and many people doesn't know, but Akumal was the first touristic development in the area before Cancun, before Playa del Carmen, before Tulum. The first touristic development was Akumal. Okay, so Akumal is very, very touristic. The principal activity in Akumal is the bay. Okay, the economy is the bay because it's a lot of tours for total watching. Okay, So we have a lot of seagrass, we have a lot of turtles, we have a great marine life in Akumal Bay. So by a moment, we start to have over exploitation this place. So a lot of people, no rules, no nothing. So we start to support uh, different studies about the total stress, okay, the about the seagrass, also about the turtles population, because sometimes can be uh, overpopulation of turtles for the kind of for the amount of seagrass that are in the bay. So also that can be a trouble. We start to study about the reefs or too, the how is the healthy, you know, and we start basically with that kind of things until we jump to a big program that is the coral restoration. So we start for many years doing just like supporting uh, research of turtles, seagrass, and marine life that is in the bay, until we make a big step to move to something much more technical.
Okay, so apart from the research that you've been doing with Opwall and these other scientists, you on your own are now undertaking coral restoration within the Akumal Bay area?
Yeah, we do it coral restoration with different people, the scientists, you know. That we do Opwall also support the coral restoration program, because when they came in, they have some students that are doing like a master's, and so they are involved in the coral restoration too program. So honestly, we started to do that like 6 years ago, the coral restoration, and was one of the projects that was really successful. You know, we start like we start the coral restoration because, you know, many of the investigations that we have in Akumal is more like like most of the places, you know, they say that is bad, this thing is bad, this is going to be is over. So everything was like a negative things, you know. So we don't have any program that was a positive program that show you that if you do this, you can have that better in that time. We don't have something to do positive. It's more things like more like a studies that tell you negative things. And we want to move to something positive. So, and some friends came in the hotel that we are. They say, "Hey, let's going to do this." At the moment that we understand, we say, "Okay, we are in because it's the first thing that is positive. It's the first thing that we saw it that if we do it in few months, we're going to see something positive, something better, you know." So that's the way that we start in the coral restoration. And I think so we can say that we are the only business, okay, that all the workers are involved. Like when I say everybody, is everybody. Also like the lady that helped us to clean the dive center, she's involved. Everybody's involved. Everybody take the courses to how to work under the water, how to clean the coral, how to do the cuts, how to do everything. Everybody knows. The guy from the front desk know. The guides, the snorkel guys, they know it. The boat captains know it. Everybody know it. So, you know, so we have teams that work. This week, this team going to work. The next week, that other team. So it's something that everybody like it and everybody support.
And how did you decide to have all of your team involved in the coral restoration project? That seems like a pretty unique way to go after it.
You know, the first time, I think so. The first thing is like uh, everybody needs to understand what's our work, what's our business, and how to have good work and good business for the next years. You know, when the people understand that you can do something better and you can do change with your work, it's really easy that they accept, they understand, and they work. and they feel it, and they are really proud when they talking about that. They are proud to say, we make that garden under the water in this place. We do this. So they are proud of this. I know that, and honestly, sometimes are not really easy because that thing we work normal, and sometimes it's after hours to work. Sometimes we are tired. Sometimes we fight, but it's part. But at the end, everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. Everybody say, yeah, we was part of this. Sometimes you sleep like when, because also we used to do ovulation. You know, so that thing sometimes you need to make a dive at the middle of the night, okay, and you finish sometimes 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and you need to work the next day 8 in the morning, okay. So of course it's tired. Many times people is really tired, so we are mad. So it's normal in a team and when you have a work. But as I told you, at the end, everybody is proud and happy. And I think so the important is like everybody understand what's his work and how the work that they made make that things can change and we can have a better place to work and better place to live.
I think that's a beautiful takeaway from the coral restoration work, and obviously all the work that you guys have been doing of involving every member of the team from the bottom to the top in this huge project. Obviously, one of the other really big projects that we've undertaken together between your center and Opwall is to help create the Akumal Marine Protected Area and actually protect the bay. So I wonder if you could maybe first take us back 10 years to right when Opwall was starting to work in Akumal. What was the situation in the bay with the sea turtles and tourism? And then kind of how did we get to where we are today?
Okay, I'm going to explain. As I told you, Akumal is a really touristic place. So the principal activity in the bay is snorkeling tours to watch turtles. So before, like 10 years ago, wasn't rules. Everybody can do whatever they wanted. I say I can be a guy and I can be in the water with 20 people. Nobody care. People touch the turtles. They follow the turtles. Like grab the turtles under the water. So wasn't rules. Wasn't nobody that take care of this. So after meetings of many people that are involved in Akumal, with meetings with different authorities, federal authorities of conservancy in Mexico, the federal authorities, they decide to make a park, Akumal, to make a biosphere, a protected area, okay, the bay. And they start to put it rules like per guy can be 6 people, just 6 people. Some areas, some specific areas where you can do the tour, the guided tour to watch turtles, and that kind of stuff. Okay, so and also as I told you, to have to monitoring all of the activities that are happening in the bay, you need a lot of people. Okay, a lot of people to do it, and that when you say that you need a lot of people, also means that costs a lot of money. Okay, so some and as I told you, when I'm start, most of the times, is not a lot of budget for that kind of activities. Right here in Mexico, we don't have really really great budget for conservancy, but also our laws about conservancy are really really old. Okay, so it wasn't really easy to patrol what's going on the bay. So I think so one of the most important things, and everybody in Akumal know, and everybody know about Opwall, is like a Opwall bring us an army. When I say an army, is because honestly you have a lot of people right here, and you say, hey, we need that you do this, you patrol this, and the guys patrol and they give you all the information, they give you everything that you needed. So that's honestly, that's amazing, for everybody, for people that live in Akumal, also for federal authorities, because not have the budget to do that work. But in the time that Opwall is in the area is when we were more, when we can, normally before Opwall arrives to Akumal, we have different meetings with different authorities that we talk about what is the information that is important to have it at that time, and they say, okay, maybe we need to check how the totals interact with the tours, how is the seagrass or how is the reef. So they give an idea what's the best information that they needed to work, and in base of that is the program that is made it with the Opwall army that came. Okay, so and in base of that they make groups, they make everything. So okay, we want to work this, we want to work that, and you Opwall process all the information to give to everybody that is working in Akumal in conservancy.
That's fantastic. Well, I think obviously, the success of this marine protected area is still being analyzed every year by our teams, even though this year we weren't able to go. From your view, what's the situation in that marine protected area today? Has there been progress on sea turtle health or coral health based on the work that we've been able to do?
Yeah, what's one of the things that are amazing is like we're having more life right now, more marine life. Because I'm talking about in specific about Akumal. We have Akumal was closed. When I say closed, it's like a no tourist from April to June.
Oh wow.
Okay, and in June was open, but honestly was basically nobody. Okay, so we can say that June was closed too, was open, but nobody arrives. Okay, so basically 3 months for first time in the history was, when I say nobody, is absolutely nobody, because was no way that you go for fishing. There's no way that you do activities, because the 2 first months was not allowed to do nothing. June, you can do activities, but was nothing to do. Tourists wasn't around. So we start to make dives just to check equipment, to also to do all the new, to practice all the new protocols that you need to do it by COVID to work. We have a lot of protocols right now. So we start to check in equipment, how you're going to clean, how practice, about everything. So we start to doing diving, and you start to see a lot of fishes that you don't see it before. Also, you can see new coral. Uh, Turtles also was more relaxing. Okay, so yeah, you see different things. But also for us in the other side was hard for us, because we, as a business, we need to handle how to survive, because we have many workers and you don't have incomes. And also, as we don't have incomes, also we can support the programs that we used to support, because now it's time to try to survive. So that was the two sides.
Wow. So obviously, on the conservation side, it sounds like there were some maybe positive impact from the pandemic of having fewer tourists.
Yes.
Although it was really hard on the tourism side.
Yes, was a positive impact. Yeah. Also, for example, this year, I didn't work a lot to check what's going on in South America, but for example, last year we don't have troubles of seagrass that normally of seaweed that normally we used to have a lot of troubles in between April to September. We used to have big trouble with seaweed. Sometimes you can do nothing because it was full of seaweed. And also, yeah, I remember, Opwall, many people know that is the army for the seaweed, because they help to clean, they help for everything. So many times people call me from other bays to say, Gerardo, I know that you have the Opwall army, and we have a lot of trouble with seaweed, so we need a big team to clean. We need okay. So we make the plans that they clean the other bays and doing things like that. But last year we don't have trouble with seaweed too.
That's interesting. I actually remember talking to Rafaela, who works with you, a few months ago about what was happening in Akumal, and she had mentioned some of the seaweed, which is obviously totally out of your control. It comes in from
Yeah.
the ocean, so it's interesting to hear that that ended up not being an issue this year. And I wonder what that is. Well, I guess we might not never
Yeah.
know. Well, obviously, you've talked a lot about the what you can achieve by working in partnership, working with local communities, working with the government, working with local businesses, obviously with this Opwall Army, which is a term that you've come up with, which I love. So I wonder kind of what you've learned from working with these local groups in the conservation of this area, and how to ensure that it benefits everybody.
I say it's not really easy. As the start wasn't really easy because I didn't came from the background of conservancy. I came from as a businessman.
Right.
I didn't came like as a biologist, as a scientific. I came from somebody that do business and to explode. We can say to explode nature. That we sell. So wasn't really easy because everybody have a different interest. Sometimes and for us, for example, we have sometimes we have a lot of argue with some ecologists because me as a business guy, I'm support programs. We work together, we do it, and it's done. And when it's done, I want that everybody know that it's done. And for me, I want that everybody can reply this. That's in my mind. But sometimes ecologists, the people that work, they don't want at that time that people know it because is they didn't write about that yet. It's not published. It's not this. And I say, but in the other side, for me, I don't care. I don't need my name in that publish. I don't need the people know that I'm on the back of that.
Right.
That I want it is that people reply that, and for me, say if more people can do it, it's better that they do it, and faster they do it is better. But in the other side, they say no because other people can do it and they can publish before me. And at the start was hard to understand, because my side is a lot of different view than the other side. But after many years to work together, I'm start to understand how to handle that. Also how to handle when you're talking also with federal authorities. Also, that's a different interest for the federal authorities, for the local authorities, for the ecologists, for the business. Everybody have a different interest. To make balance between all of that different interests sometimes is not really easy. So you need to that we do it is we try to understand was the principal interest of every actor, you know, and in that way, you can talk and do what's the interest that they have it. You need to make a work that that people can have the effect that the interest of each one have it, so the program can be successful for everybody. So that's that's the work that you need to do it.
Well, it's a very interesting tension that you bring up between the business side of wanting to test something, verify it, and move fast, scale it up, do it everywhere if it works, versus the science side of needing to test and publish and hypothesize and test and replicate and then go out. So it's really interesting how you've managed to combine those two worlds. And obviously, as you've just said, those aren't the only two parties interested. You've got the local community, the hotels, the federal government, and everyone else who's there. The local community that lives in Akumal, the Mexican community, what have you done to engage with them on the conservation of the protected area? Has it affected them at all in terms of fishing rules or tourism?
Yeah, like local community, they live from the bay. I say most of the people, most of the families, they do business tours. Federal authorities, they give permits to everybody, and they sell tours too every day. Okay, with the rules that you need to respect. So right now, the local community also are involved, like in program as patrol. You know how to patrol the bay, how to make this. Normally, at the first time of Opwall, we have some troubles. Some troubles in the way that they think that when Opwall make a patrol was a business. Like they say, nah, they're making a lot of money doing this, until they start to understand how really works. When I remember that first time when I say, because I know everybody there. I know most of the people in Akumal. I grow in Akumal, so I remember that in small towns, people like to talk. So I remember that people were always, when they say that is a lot of people, they think that is a lot of money too. But as I told you at the start, with conservancy, you need to make a balance, between business and conservancy. And it's not the same business when you work with conservancy that when you work with a normal customer, you know. So I remember that one time I was talking with three friends that they was argue about Wallacea, and I say, yeah, but they patrol. They patrol for free. They give information. This. And I say, and yeah, they pay, and that's the amount that they pay. If you want it, do it, because I have time to do other business. I say, right here is the contract. You can. They say, what? I say, no. No. That's okay. I say, really? I say, that they are not the normal customers. Right now that you see a group of 5 people right there, like 3 hours in the water, they are watching how the total act between total and the customers and the guides and the tours. So they make notes about if the total swim away, if the total is still relaxing, if the total is eating, if the total doesn't care, if the total go out to breathe. That's they are checking. I say, so we don't charge as a normal customer for somebody's doing that work. Okay. So at the end, people right now, everybody understand what's Wallacea do it in Akumal Bay. But local people, yes, they're involved in different programs, but they make programs by his own with federal authorities or local authorities. Yeah, but and the principal work of the locals are patrol, is to patrol the bay.
And is fishing allowed by the local community in the bay, or has that changed since it became a protected area?
No, in the bay, we have like a local rule. In Akumal Bay, wasn't allowed to fish. I don't know, maybe more than 30 years ago. Nobody. Doesn't matter. No catch and release. No nothing. So in the bay, yeah, never was allowed to fish. And right now we have a fishing refuge, in the area that it's outside of the bay, in the area that we are diving and do snorkeling tours and everything. Is a fishing refuge. As I told you at the start, it's like a budget. It's a fishing refuge. It's a federal fishing refuge, but never made yet the budget to put the signals. What is the fishing refuge? We know it because we know where it is. We have the paper, we have everything. But you, as a visitor, as a tourist, you go out and you doesn't know that exists, because there are no marks like in other countries, like in other places, that say you are not allowed to fish in this area until that area. Yes, so it's not that signals. So yes, but it's a fishing refuge that we know it. People that local people know it. So most of the people they try to protect and respect.
So there's a secret fishing refuge right outside of Akumal Bay that only the Mexicans know about.
Yeah, Yeah, and locals, because many Mexicans, they come from Mexico City, they come from
Right.
Guadalajara, and they doesn't know it, they do, and yeah, and there's no many way to patrol, because as are no signals that you need to respect, so that people can do much.
Right. Well, obviously, you've talked a lot about using your business to support sustainability and conservation around. And I think this is a topic that's become really prevalent right now, that a lot of businesses are talking about how they can be more sustainable or how they can contribute to conservation or protect, from climate change. So I was wondering if you have any advice for people in the business world looking to become more sustainable, or maybe people in the conservation world looking to work with businesses. How do you bridge that gap?
I think so. I think so. It's more about education and culture. About this when you talk about that, because I think so. Everybody likes money. Everybody likes business, because that's the truth. Okay, but I think so. You need to make you need to analyze what's your business, what's your goals in life, and how long you want to have that business. We can say we have an amazing business in Akumal. Is a nice place, nice view every day, uh, really good life. Relax, and we work with people that when people arrive to our business, people is happy. Nobody arrived to our business mad. Everybody's in holidays. They when they arrive, they are happy. They want to have fun. They want to relax. They want to discover. So when we analyze, we say, hey, we want to have that business for the next 30 years. We don't want to have business for the next 5 years or 10. We want that for the next 30, 40 years. So what we can do it, I say, if we do it just like a selling diving, selling tours, just making business. I think so. It's time to make an investment, because it's an investment for conservancy, for ecology things. I think so. Everybody knew it's not expense. It's an investment, because that investment going to help us to have business for longer time. You know, so for us, we see it more not as expensive. We see it more as investment. That we need to do it. And I think so. Everybody, I think so. All the business are uh, closer or late, but we're involved with nature. We depend for nature, more us. So we need to see the way that we support that.
Well, I think that's great advice. And obviously, thinking really long term is the way to construct sustainability, especially environmentally, because, obviously you noticed very quickly the connection between the fish or the turtles and your business. There's no way that you can do it without it. But I hope that, businesses that are slightly more separate from nature are able to take that advice as well and look to the long term, because we all, as you said, we all depend on nature to some extent, or almost to every extent, to be honest. So as we're finishing up, I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite part of working in the field, and what are the biggest challenges that you've come across?
The principal thing that I really really like it is when you help people to discover uh, a new word. And when I say a new word, it's like sometimes people came and they never think that they can dive, and finally they dive and they discover that it's an amazing word, that is a different things, how things works. So you make a change in their lives. And when we work with groups as Opwall, you saw young people that that many some people they come for have fun, some people they come more focused in make change, but basically you touch their lives. They have a really a life experience. Sometimes I saw people. I'm working for my family the last 18 years. So sometimes you saw people that send you an email that say, "Hey, Gerardo, I was there 15 years ago. This is this, and right now I'm doing this. I remember that I understand that thing, so I'm decide to do these things. So you start to see people that you really touch their lives and they make change. And I think so is we are doing a work that many times we touch life of our customers, of our friends, of the people that make something with us. You make a difference. You make a they learn something. And I think so that's the most important thing for us.
That's lovely. And I hope some of the people listening to this will be some of the people that you came across 10 or 15 years ago working with Opwall, because that's really a lot of the people who are, following us right now. And I hope they remember fondly coming to Akumal and seeing the turtles and sitting in the water for long periods of time. I think a lot of people find us scientists crazy wherever we go, and looking at animals for really long periods of time.
No, we discover in that pandemic, you always learn something, always learn something. So because we never imagined that pandemic going to be that long. When we say they're going to close, honestly, in my mind was, okay, I'm going to take a holidays for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I'm back to work. But no, you start to see that it was longer, longer, longer.
Right.
But at the time, you start to see how many people was asking for you, if all the stuff is good, how is family, how is the sometimes people that you don't remember, because you work with a lot of people. I say, and sometimes people say, until they say, Gerardo, I was there, these, and you say, I know who is that guy. And they asking how they support, they are asking what, and so that means that you are doing something good, because you touch life of different people. And it was people from all around the world. Was Mexicans, was Americans, Canadians, Europeans, from everywhere, Italians, French. Let's say, hey, Gerardo, what your staff needed, how we can support that, because you do this for us, my family learned this. So it was a time that sometimes in a normal life, you don't see that, because every day you have a war, you do this, you have a routine every day. But at that time, you have time to analyze many things that in a normal condition you don't see it. So was really, really interesting to discover that I don't know, in that old years that we have that business working. We also have many uh, association, ecological people that say, Gerardo, we have a budget that we don't going to expend right now for the pandemic, and we want to support your team. So we need to make a payment, and next year we do any investigation on everything that we needed. We do with you. So we want to support that. And you say, so you start to see it like all the community that you work, they are ready to support you. So that at the end, that means that you are doing something good.
Well, I think you've just defined karma for us, and you've built up a lot of good karma over the last few years and the work that you've been doing. Well, to end us out on a positive note, I wanted to ask you why you personally believe we should keep fighting to protect biodiversity and prevent climate change. Really, what gets you out of bed in the morning?
When I wake up in the morning, always is in my mind is like what's to do positive things. That doesn't matter if it's about conservancy, doesn't matter about what is. I think so. It's about life. You need. I think so. Everybody of us, they need to try to support everybody. I think so. If I can do something for you, I will do it. If I can do something from anybody, I should do it. I think so. The positive things that if we do everyday positive things, world will be much better. In all ways.
Well, that's a beautiful sentiment for us to end on. My last question for you as we go is just what are you most looking forward to for the next field season?
Right now, I was thinking that how going to be the next season. I was talking with Rafaela, talking about how going to be. When I say how going to be, it's because we need to start working now with a different with federal authorities, local authorities, and a lot of office was closed in the last 6-8 months. So when they open, it's like a lot of work, a lot of work, not just from Akumal, just from all of Mexico, all around the area. So I think so will be a lot of challenge. The good thing is we say that the kids of Opwall, uh, they always work hard. They always work hard. So that's make for us things that we have balance. It doesn't matter how tough can be, how challenge can be. We know that people are going to work. So that's that's the good thing in this. That yeah, I think so will be interesting this summer because because as I told you, it's no budget to make studies to analyze and everything. So I think so this summer will be really interesting because all the information that Ob will give to us will be really interesting to have the information about what's going on during the pandemic, because finally, because I can tell you something that I see it, but it's not something that we really, really analyze every day for some period. We don't have that information, but I'm sure that right now with Obwa, we're going to have that. So that will be really, really interesting because you have exactly how was that reef 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and right now how is that reef after of a year of break. You're going to see exactly in that reef wasn't a lot of parrotfish, and right now it's more parrotfish. How going to be the seagrass? So will be really, really interesting. All the information at the end of the summer.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that data as well. I think these big data gaps that we're having at all of our sites obviously are really upsetting for the long-term research. But on the other hand, we're going to see very interesting data coming out after a year of almost having few people there. Although obviously, I know, as you mentioned, you've been quite busy in the last few months at Akumal. There are tourists back again. So knowing that, I will let you go. I know you are off to work with tourists. Tulum is wide open, and so is Akumal. So thank you very much for your time today and your inspiring story. I think a lot of people will enjoy hearing from you.
Thank you, Sophia. Have a good day.
Thank you for tuning in to Opwall's Field Notes. We hope you are inspired by Gerardo's story of looking for sustainability and conservation as the solution for building a successful business in the long term. Stay tuned for more episodes about conservation in other biodiversity hotspots around the world, coming soon on Opwall's Field Notes. Field Notes. Field Notes.